The first two questions will kind of pose as a buzz in, and if you would like to answer, just identify yourself and kind of chime in. And then after that, Marcia will call on a couple people specifically with the next two questions. So let's take that first one. In the nonverbal communication, there's a section in there where we talk about our speaking voice. How is it that a speaking voice is considered part of nonverbal communication? Why do we put that in there?
Hi, Larry. This is Sean. I think Gary just showed it quite well, and Kristen just commented on it. We are in this heavy non-visual space where we are not seeing each other, so we're not seeing the other non-verbal communication cues. What we are hearing is tone, is pacing, is pitch, is intonation, is everything that goes along with nonverbal communication. And so, when Gary was speaking, Kristen, really commented on his speaking voice and the way that he was presenting it. And those are the things that really go into that aspect. It's making sure that our tone is really aligned with our message, so that it's not out of sync. I think they reference harmony, music. You want to make sure that it's in concert with your other nonverbal cues and then also your words. And I think this space specifically is evidence of that. When we're not seeing each other, we're not seeing the eye contact, we're not seeing the engaged looks and the nods. We get that from you, Larry, because we can see you, so it's really helpful when you're nodding along. But we really got to pay attention to those, the tone and the way in which we encourage or construct and we send messages through just all of that. So yeah, the end.
Wow, thank you. Thank you. You articulated that in a very good way. Thank you for those thoughts. One other person want to add anything to that? I'm guessing that the insight that Sean gave us might have triggered a thought or two.
This is Morgan. I think that he kind of spoke to it when he talked about the harmony and everything, but I really liked in the book when it talked about that it's an instrument. And I could almost hear the symphony playing when I was reading it, and about how it creates bonds. I thought that was really powerful.
Thank you. Very true.
This is Joya.
I think we've got, go ahead, Joya.
Sorry, Larry.
Go ahead.
I think the speaking, your tone of voice is so important. The cadence, I don't know if that was mentioned, but how you say the words, the cadence of it, the inflection that goes on a word. If you inflect it in one part of the sentence, it sounds completely different. Even when you take a breath with a comma. So all of that is so important when you're trying to express your words, as I am struggling right now with mine. So I think that's really, those are important pieces as well.
Sure. Thank you. Great insights. Let's look at the next question. And again, this one is a little bit challenging because it kind of causes us to kind of think about how the course is put together and why we do things the way we do. And I'm just going to read this question and let you guys respond. What purpose do the 4 aspects of nonverbal communication slides play in the flow of the nonverbal communication module? Anyone?
This is Lindsay. So I kept seeing it called a positional slide, I believe, and I was thinking of it as kind of like if you're using your GPS, you think you're on the right track, but then you keep looking back at it to see how far along you are and how much further you have to go. So I think it's a good place marker as they move through those 4 different quadrants to know, like, okay, I'm here, now I'm here, now I'm here. And that's part of OCL with the whole communication cycle, and then even just the overall slide for the entire class that we keep coming back to, and it says, you are here. So to me, that's that's what that slide was for, and it popped up multiple times for that reason.
Okay, all right. Anyone want to add to that?
This is awesome.
You. I can wait.
Oh,
I
this
think
is Morgan. Go ahead. You go.
yeah, sorry, I don't talk very much, so I figured I would chime in. Basically, I like the fact that it goes over all non-4 of the I guess the basics of messaging, and I think that people sometimes forget that not just their words are really part of the message. That you can say whatever you want, but if your body position is one way, if your gestures are another way, your facial expressions, all of that has to come together to create the message, or else it's not authentic. And so for all 4 of these to be in there, I think it's very important for our, not necessarily our students, but who we are facilitating to understand that when communication, it's not 1, it's not 2, it's not 3, it has to be the whole package.
Wow, yes. Thank you for that. Thank you. Great response to that.
This is
We
Gary.
might
If I
have
can
time
add
for... Yes, go, Gary.
one other dimension to this, and that's on sort of the learning side. You know, the content which you all are describing, really important. That's what we want to communicate. We also want them to remember it. And so the pedagogical technique of you tell people what you're going to tell them, then you tell it to them, and then you tell them what you told them. And these slides sort of give a visual of exactly that process. And I think it helps people remember the content when they have that framing.
Can I throw one more thing in there?
Great. Yes, one more thing, then we'll move on.
I promise. I think also it helps to really itemize the parts of communication and point them out to people, because sometimes people don't break down communication into these specific things, but they don't think about, oh, my body posture is different than my gestures, which is different than my facial expression, which is different than my voice. And this really parses them out so we can attack them one at a time and then holistically.
Great, great. What it looks like to me is you guys are thinking, and really, really appreciate that. There's some incredible intentionality behind these slides and how they're put together. And Marcia's going to share a little bit more about that as she goes through the walk and talk. Let's move on to when we put you guys on the hot seat. And I'll turn the mic over to Marcia and let her go from here.
Terrific. Thanks, Larry. Great job. I mean, the level of understanding and application is so high. I'm very excited about this. Can't wait. All right, what do we intend? Oh. Hello?
This is Jules. I just wanted to mention for this section, we have about a minute and a half. I know we'll go a little longer and we are ahead of time.
Oh, good. Thank you, Jules. That's really helpful. All righty, here's our question. Get ready, because I'm going to call on someone. What do we intend participants to learn from the Superpowers pre-work read and respond article and the subsequent in-classroom discussion? How about John? Would you answer this question? John J. Is John on?
Can you hear me this time?
Yes. Sounding good.
Okay, so the pre-work is really the message that we send and how we deliver our messages. Our nonverbals have influence over that. So if we're coming from a place of positivity, we're going to get positivity in return. Whereas if we come from a place of negativity, more than likely we're going to get that in return.
Good, good. Anyone want to add in? That's absolutely bottom line, John. Thank you.
And I would like to add on to that, though, that what's important, what strikes me about this particular section is it's about choice. So often when I'm talking to people, I hear them say, well, you made me angry, or that situation made me angry. And really it's a choice on what we bring to the table and what we decide to present every day.
We can make the choice.
Correct.
We can choose who we are
Correct.
in a moment, what our mood is, what we bring to others. Anyone else? Any thoughts on the superpowers article?
This is Rachel. Just want to add on to that. Yes, I also wrote down the choice, but I have a comment for conscious choice. So this is something that the way that I read it in that pre-read was she intentionally was choosing to be positive and not just how do I put it? Just happened that way. So the way that I see it is it's a consciousness and an intention that people have to be aware of how you're impacting others, not just in the moment of choosing, but it's kind of make it into a habit and also be aware of how you affect other people. To me, during the exercise, how the question, one of the questions that was in there was, how do you feel that you impact at your workplace, or something like that question. That really gave me a lot to think about, and then that conscious choice is, I think, is crucial in projecting how you want to show up, how you want to project, and how you want other people to experience you.
I love that. So we can choose what we bring to others in that moment, in that place.
Yes.
Yeah, really good. Anyone else? I really enjoy facilitating this when I'm teaching. So you may feel that as I talk through this. Okay, moving into another section. Please explain to me, how do you conclude the 4 aspects of nonverbal communication section and then set up the mirror on the wall teaching chunk? That's a pretty abrupt switch from the 4 aspects. You finish that, and the immediate next slide is mirror on the wall. How do you conclude the one and set up the next section? Let's see, feeling interested today. Who should I choose? Is Jamie on? Jamie Fluke.
Yes, I am.
Jamie, would you like to answer this one?
I'll give it a stab.
I love
it. So I see like the 4 aspects, going through what each of those areas of nonverbal are. And then the mirror on the wall is kind of a way to bring it all together and just remind you that you're always reflecting your leadership out to others. And that involves all of those, and just being really conscientious of what message you are giving out there. And also, I really liked the part that talked about knowing that how am I contributing to the culture that I'm creating, and how am I making it stronger, or am I taking away from it, and bringing in all of those aspects. But I really like the part about giving other people the license to tell us to measure how we're doing based on the messages that we're giving off.
Okay, nice. Would anyone add on? Would anyone like to have other thoughts that they would build on to what Jamie shared?
This is Joya.
This is Jules. I do just want to give it.
Go ahead, Jules.
Quick time.
I just give time awareness so that if we wanted to have some spaciousness around the teach backs, we're about 5 minutes over the quiz show time.
And how are we overall?
We are 4 minutes ahead of schedule overall.
Okay, let's just take 30 seconds, a minute. Joya, I think you had a thought.
Yeah, so I also see the transition between these 2 slides as a way to remind people that that this whole program really is about our own mindfulness about ourselves and where we are and how we communicate is really about us and not about other people. And so when you look in the mirror and you see yourself, you have to be brutally honest with yourself about how you are communicating. And when things go well, you've done a good job. And if they're not going well, how do you readjust that so that it is going well and you are getting your point across? Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Again, that choice. So if we take Jamie's response and Joya's response, we have it all right there. It's perfect. Perfect, perfect. Thank you guys very much. Thanks for being on the spot. You did a wonderful job. And Larry, I'll let you take it on to
All right.
The next piece, unless you want to reflect on the quiz show.
Nope. I think we had some really good comments there.
Yeah.